Today we're doing another market review. We're going to go in depth with it, all the latest features. Unlike most of Dread, we're going to avoid the silly drama and just get straight into it. My name is Mike Avi. Thanks so much for joining us today to give you guys a tease of what's going to be in the upcoming video. Since it is a rather long feature, I'm going to post a couple screenshots here right now that are going to give you a nice little tease, and there's going to be more sprinkled throughout the video. This is actually showing the vendor side. Now, this is not from me. This is from one of the individuals I reached out to. They were kind enough to provide this. And in addition to that, there's going to be screenshots for multi-signature for buyers and for dash multi-signatures. Anyways, stay tuned for this lovely video. And if you enjoy it, give that like button a nice big hit. PSA to YouTube and all those watching, this video is for educational purposes mainly, with a little bit of entertainment factors in it. Please understand that the legalities vary based on which country you are visiting and viewing this from. In many, simply browsing and discussing the Darknet, it's okay. It's perfectly legal. Now, when you utilize these Darknet markets and you purchase something from them, or especially if you're a vendor or the individuals running them, then that is illegal. I cannot recommend what you do online with your spare time. I do not encourage any illegal activities. And with that out of the way, let's get into today's video about Nightmare Market. Now, Nightmare was the next choice since I saw an advertisement on Dread on there. I also saw that the head of PR, the marketing guy, the moderator on Dread that I discussed in a previous video about Rapture falling down, and we might have a video on Rapture with a little update. Well, I did a little bit of digging, and Legal Amigo is also a moderator for Nightmare Market and a couple of other markets. This individual used to work with Gamma Goblin and LSD Vendor. There's plenty of new markets coming out, and with every single market there's always a risk, but new features are always welcome with these markets. I do hope that this one doesn't follow the path of many others that have fallen, whether it was through hacking, an exit scam, or the FBI or some other police agency taking them down. I would like to see the Darknet changed a little bit for the better. So here's some of the pros and cons to this. If this market is around 6 months from now or 12 months from now, I'll probably do another updated review on them, as will I with Dream and Empire and Rapture if they come back, or Olympus if they're not coming back probably. Okay, so we're first going to look at the results when you go on the ClearNet for Nightmare Market. Now, of course, most of the subreddits that used to exist are gone. That's why people migrated to Dread. Dread's link, by the way, changed. Some people were asking about that in the comments section, but hold on a sec. While we look up Darknet for the past week, I'm getting a lot of very strange results. People are still doing these crappy, scammy Darknet unboxing videos. Like, really? You're digging it out of the woods? I like that because it's a Russian video, and that sometimes happens with Ramp, but this one, you're gonna be shooting someone. Oh no, there's blood everywhere. Stupid stuff. Anyways, so Nightmare Market, this seems like the only one on Reddit from Darknet Markets News. At least this subreddit is around, but everything else. Dream Market is giving me nightmares. Well, that's not about Nightmare Market. Let's go back here, and these results, hey, there's my video about Empire. These results are what turn up. These three redirect to darknetmarkets.com, which, by the way, there is a spelling error. Since this was updated, it says that there are over 1,000 listings, crypto support for Bitcoin, Monero, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, and Zcoin. The vendor bond will be $100 US, which is a little bit lower compared to other larger markets. The security features are 2FA, escrow, multi-signature, and forcing PGP, which, by the way, if you're not using PGP encryption, it's like you're masochistic and begging to get caught. The layout for Nightmare is quite different than many other markets, and I did mention this in a previous video. I said it kind of looked shitty, to be quite honest. So depending on which kind of individual you are, you may either hate it because it just looks kind of old and traditional, or you may enjoy it because it's different. It's not a copycat compared to many other markets out there, which most of the markets that became new this year were copying off of Alphabet, off of TradeRoute, off of Wall Street, but we're going to go further into that in just a little bit. So the one Reddit result that pops up, Nightmare Market. I saw an ad on Darknet of vendors for Nightmare Market and decided to check it out. What I noticed was that none of the vendors have a rating yet, and most of the products listed haven't been viewed very often, if at all. Is this just a new market and people haven't gravitated over there yet? Or is there something sinister going on with it? There's one comment that got -2 points here, which I don't really understand why, because this is actually a decent comment. Maybe it was the last sentence. Check if the vendors are also in other markets and see the reviews there. That bit is actually really smart. If you think that some market is a scam or the vendors are scammers, just check out the names. If they're on other markets and if they're receiving good reviews and if they're still active, of course, there's been some recent purchases within the past week or past month, depending on category. For example, psychedelic vendors, they're less active, less clients, and it's much difficult to produce that. And his second sentence, buy a small amount before bigger purchases. Well, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that as well. There's another comment discussing the name. Just the name makes me want to steer clear of this market. There's been a lot of really shitty names out there. Let's admit that. There's an Amazon ripoff. Like, come on. You can't judge a book by its cover. Someone did say it's probably a counter to Dream and Nightmare. I'm sure someone thought it was super clever. The only other result for Nightmare Market, which again, there are very little results on the ClearNet unless a market has enough time, which Nightmare Market is new, so no reason why it should have a lot of results. We see this new website, at least it's new for me, Dark.fail. It's kind of awesome because it's very traditional in terms of the layout and how it looks, but there's a lot of new markets and old markets that are on here. For example, Olympus, right under Nightmare Market, is down. Darknet Avengers Forum is up, where Nightmare advertised on Darknet Avengers. Dread, I think there was a third forum that I saw it on. What's really interesting here is you see Facebook. Facebook does have a deep web version. In 2015, Aphex Twin released his album entirely on the deep web. Ooh, the deep web's going mainstream. What's unfortunate is it seems Dark.fail is going to replace DNSstats.net, which had a really, really good layout. Everything changed. We only have a couple markets now. When we go to all markets, it gets even worse. There's only these 4. Wow. I used to be really excited about this website, but I'm not going to be visiting it anymore because it's been like this in this state for the past 2 months. And here we see all the dead markets, which some of these deserve a video on. Nucleus, some people think that the owner died. So now that we're done exploring the ClearNet about Nightmare, let's check out the Darknet version. Here is the link to the new Dread. I'm actually going to leave it down in the video below. Please be careful, by the way. I've noticed recently that even though my spam filter through my YouTube comments does get rid of a lot of phishing links and people who are advertising their Wicker IDs and all of this weird stuff, don't click on those links. Some get past the spam filters. I try and remove the ones that I find by eye. Sometimes I scroll through the comments, but again, people will give you an old Dread link, an old Nightmare link, an old, any forum, any hidden wiki links, all of that stuff. And if you hit the wrong one, people can get your information. They can steal your Bitcoins, so always be careful. Anyways, we are on Dread, and you can see a Nightmare advertisement, and that actually looks really nice. And the Imperial Research Chemicals too, although that name, speaking of names earlier, I guess someone took Emperor. That text fits in perfectly with like a Halloween theme, and you see all the coins that are supported: Bitcoin, BCH, Litecoin, Dash, Zcash, Monero. 3 of those are privacy coins, 3 are just the usual. Well, one of them I wouldn't even count, Bcash, but hey. New with 2x3 multi-signature support, and multi-signature is just another barrier for those who want to ensure they're actually going to receive their product. It helps protect against scamming vendors, and it goes both ways. So if we type in Nightmare on Dread, we can see a vendor badge application from Business Pro. This guy is saying he's on vacation mode, must be another vendor, and it seems like Business Pro is engaging in some friendly discussion here with one of his clients probably. Have you some kind of mental illness? All my deals use Nightmare Market escrow, retard. What the fuck? What's new on Nightmare Market? Let's check this out from the actual Nightmare Market user. Updated on the market filter. Okay, so the latest update, the market filter / listing filter has now a more complex filtering method. It sorts by ascending, descending order numbers, ascending, descending vendor last activity, status, quantity, date, and the price of the product. It has a simplified registration process, so some of the unnecessary fields were removed. The character allowance filter was updated. Some help buttons were included to the username and display name fields. A display name can be the same as username. However, Nightmare Market strongly suggests to use a different display name than username. And guys, don't actually use any names that are related to your real life personality. You should be a different individual on the Darknet. And this goes out to those who are using it legally. To those who are using it illegal, again, not recommended, but even more so reason to do so. A live jabber notification status has now been added to buyer seller profile. That was from a little while ago. That was from a couple weeks back. I saw that update on Avengers, so you can see whether it's active or inactive on Jabber, as long as Jabber doesn't crash. The live feed function has been implemented, so you can actually see a live listing of all the recent updates. So when a vendor adds a new listing, when someone becomes a vendor, for example, we've got a new vendor. User XY23 has upgraded his account to vendor. When someone gets banned, when a listing price is being modified, viewing the listing button, when a listing stock is being modified, and Wombat2 Combat is saying, please only post announcement if there is actually something to update. Only having a few small changes or making up updates will be seen as spam bias mods. I'm not criticizing this post, but please be aware that there's a distinction between properly keeping your users updated and spamming. So maybe this has been already up. Let's check it out. You have to have at least 500 plus sales on our marketplace or other marketplace with FE or 100% feedback score. I'm guessing that's in response to, I recently read that it was free for vendors to join Nightmare. They were able to avoid the bond and fee, and I'm guessing that's in response to that. Here is a post. All Rapture Market refugees are welcome to Nightmare Market. Who posted this? Nightmare. Vendor bond is not free. Vendor bond is free for formal Rapture Market vendors. Okay, there we go. It's confirmed. Bad idea to prove you were a vendor on a dead market. So some people are saying if it was due to law enforcement, there's probably, well, an increased risk in just admitting that you were a vendor on there. But there is also the chance that they scam. It's cheaper to pay vendor bond than a lawyer, and I think old vendors have $200 for a vendor bond. Nightmare Market responded, our market has an automated anti-scam system. Detecting scammers is not a problem. Besides that, our support is very active, plus we have a live jabber notification system, This guy is saying I'm not talking about scamming or Nightmare Market. If Rapture is controlled by LE, do you think it's a good idea to continue working on the same way? Okay, so that's just in response to vendor. A Nightmare bug has been reported and probably fixed. Multisig 23, let's discuss this post. Okay. Greetings, Nightmare users. Our community asked for a few upgrades, so we're glad to announce that we're deploying them as fast as we can. We want to remind you that we always listen to what the community needs, so keep asking for new features and changes. As soon as we hear your voice, we can build up a user-centric marketplace to satisfy all of you. Updates. Now Nightmare Markets officially supports multi-signature 2x3 payments with direct deposit. PGP key validation and fund verification has been implemented as well. As long as you can pay the market fees with your account balance, you can send the amount directly to the Multisig wallet. Zcash and Dash coins are now being tested with Multisig availability from the start, and they were integrated. DDoS CAPTCHA has been reworked, and yes, I did have to go through a DDoS when I logged into Nightmare over here. There is a tutorial section for the new users, how to buy with multi-signature and how to sell with that for the vendors. So that's actually kind of nice. Some bug fixes and improvements, and one person here discussed the cryptocurrencies. Those are a lot of dangerous cryptos to be implementing. Good luck. Also, how come it's near impossible to register? If we take it this way, Bitcoin is more dangerous than them all. Zcash is pretty safe. getting closer to Monero. Monero did have its issues with privacy, but some of them did get fixed. Impossible to register. We have a big influx of new users each day, so no, it's not impossible. This was from last week, but we will look into it and try to simplify it. And it seems that Nightmare Market has been investing quite heavily into Dread and Darknet Market Avengers and other platforms to advertise. I'm guessing at least thousands of dollars or maybe tens of thousands of dollars. It's been reported that some markets, when they first come out, invest or reinvest some of their profits, and usually it ends up being a couple $100,000 or even millions of dollars throughout their careers, well, lifetime. Now, just as any business, I know some of you might be shocked that are looking at this video and you've never been on the Darknet and you're just watching this for entertainment purposes, which is an educational video for the most part. To keep my viewers informed that this stuff does happen. It's just like any normal business on Amazon or eBay. You got the rating systems for your high quality narcotics. If someone is a scammer or is selling impure psychoactive substances, their ratings will go down. But as with any business, there's always competition that you have to look out for. So a smart market owner, a savvy one, will reinvest his profits and invest heavy from the very beginning to get marketing, inbound and outbound marketing. They're both extremely and incredibly important for these markets. And this guy's further response: if by safe you mean untraceable, then none of them is proven. Monero, the most popular one around the markets, has failed to deliver before. The block explorer at monerolink.com can reveal the real transaction for about 62% of all transactions prior to February 17th. And that was the privacy issue that I discussed earlier. There hasn't been enough research on the traceability of Monero. The few papers that we have barely touch on what an opponent with the resources that law enforcement has. Most deal with plain blockchain analysis. Law enforcement has many more data points to cross-reference. In time, it may probe as traceable as Bitcoin for law enforcement, so smart vendors should assume it is. In terms of safety for your funds, Bitcoin remains by far the safest. It has the strongest network, which means it's less vulnerable to 51% attacks, which that's just a large network of computers trying to shut down the enemy. Sometimes that happens, hey, DDoS. And forks that can lead to double spends, etc. It is the simplest. That means it has a smaller attack surface than any other. And its transparency and popularity ensures that if there is a bug, it will be detected and dealt with swiftly. Coupled with the fact that you are implementing them behind a market wallet, which has been proven to be an insecure design, it means that if your market loses money to any of these vulnerabilities, your users won't know until it's too late. We've seen this very recently and many times in the past. Implementing so many so hastily and then testing only 48 hours sounds like you're not doing your homework, and maybe multiplying the risk times the number of cryptos. I would suggest that you look for alternatives to the flawed wallet design that has cost us so much in the past. I wouldn't trust it even with multi-signature if I have to send the funds to your market wallet first. And in response to that, that is why we offer a vast selection of cryptocurrencies so that the user can select the coin that he thinks is the safest. Plus, we advise users to use the safest coins such as Monero and Zcash. So Nightmare is more on Zcash and Monero. The other user is saying Bitcoin is the safest. It all depends on your perspective. There are market experts, and even on the ClearNet side of things, there's a lot of people with PhDs that are arguing which cryptocurrency is the safest. Whether something is classified a privacy coin or not is completely debatable in every single circumstance. You can find all those debates on crypto forums. If you're interested in cryptocurrencies, check out the links in the description below and subscribe to my cryptocurrency channel, almost at 19,000 subscribers. And thank you guys so much for almost 75K on here. Yes, indeed, 51% attacks are something that none of us like, and we all have to pay attention to that. As for vulnerabilities, we got a strong security. We invite everyone that has the hacking skills to give us a test. If someone finds a major vulnerability, we are willing to pay good for it. Ooh, spicy. I checked the screenshots and the redeem script was missing on your multi-sig page. You really need to supply this if your users are to validate that the P2PSH address is legit. I don't really understand that bit. I'm not too much on the coding development side of things, but it seems that we forgot one last important step. Many thanks for clearing it up for us. We'll sure include it as soon as possible. It may seem a little unprofessional to some users out there. I'm a little bit on the fence about that. I think every single market has these issues. Great observation. Many markets lack this and will continue to say they have true multi-signature. Yes, indeed, tomorrow it will be implemented. Now, Nightmare has a lot of activity, and that's probably due to the advertisements on Dread. These advertisements usually run for a month. I think I've seen it the second month now. We've been talking on Dread for quite a bit, so the last thing we're going to see on here is how much they actually get We have Empire Market here at 410 subscribers, Wall Street at 13,600, DNMs at 14.7, Toshka 12.3, Rapture 510, Olympus Market, the Gone Market is at 207, Murder Homeless People is at 720. That grabbed your attention, didn't it? Dream, one of the largest and longest standing markets, has only 1.3 thousand, so it also kind of goes to show doesn't really matter the numbers on here, at least not for the older markets. Here we go, 158 subscribers. Okay, so with that out of the way, I know this is one of my longer videos, but let's go fully into it. We have a nightmare over here. We have the forums section. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So we are currently on Nightmare Market. I'm going to read to you guys a couple of the answers I received when I reached out to one of the members of Nightmare. They verified by a signature that it is indeed them, and they showed some details that otherwise would not be available to the public. But it's always interesting to get their perspective on things. Some don't want to discuss, and that's fine. Usually these interviews happen through Jabber or Proton Mail or whatever, but most are very similar. They do this as a hobby, or if it is their actual work, they might have a family. They're pretty nice people. They fit in with the vendors and all the tech experts. Some are married, some have families, some are just pickup guys, like the Alphabet, Alexandre Casas. Although he had a wife too. They're not like your average drug dealer or drug lord that they're going to be killing people. These guys just care about the business for the most part. It's exciting for them, and since they have the knowledge and there's very few people in the world that do, why not take full advantage of it? So the question was asked, are you afraid of ever getting busted? Getting busted is not an option with us. We're running a multi-gateway platform of servers, something that no one did in the past. Everything is Tor-fied, VPN, and offshored. We're using our own Tor exit nodes, our own hosting platform, our own WAF and Jinx crafted security rules. I'm not saying we're invulnerable, but when it comes to OPSEC, no one will ever steal our coins or reach the database, or even if they do, it is so encrypted that it would take them ages to find a way to decrypt it. We're also using hot, cold wallet technology, and we keep only 25% of market funds online. Another question was asked about this market, its layout, which some of you guys thought it was a bad thing. I kind of fit into the group as a marketer. I look, okay, well, it doesn't look so appealing to the eye. But with this answer, it does make more sense. I'm kind of neutral now after reading this. Currently, there are only clones of other marketplaces online. No one has the dignity or strength to build a market from scratch, excepting Dream Market. For example, Wall Street Market is built on the source code of Bitwasp, as a lot of other marketplaces, such as the new Kryptonian. Nightmare's platform is built from scratch. And since this was interesting news to me, I'm discovering something that I was unaware of before. I asked, what other common source codes are there? The Bitwasp detail is interesting. We got 3 public scripts that are on the sale for a while. One is EvoScript, which was built by a Vietnamese guy. 2, Bitwasp script, the open source with direct deposits, and 2x3 multi-signature that everyone's using to start a market core from. And 3, this script that Olympus Market used and that Core Market is using. All are based on a PHP framework called Laravel. I've personally coded and upgraded 3 versions of Evolution script, which I currently still have in my code collection. There was a question asked about Monero in regards to that. If you use Monero and set mixing to 40, that means that the transaction will come in your provided wallet from a new incoming source, new coins. There was a recent update in terms of integrating redeeming script for multi-signature, so Bitcoin to BCH to Zcash to Dash, so people can verify the authenticity of the multi-signature wallet and see it signed with their own keys. Some further questions were asked, such as, what is your largest concern with Nightmare? What would you do to prevent the website falling down during maintenance? And what improvements can be made to the forum? Some interesting features are the multi-signature with direct deposit for BTC, which we discussed, the live Jabber notification system, about what type of notifications to receive, messages, all the live stuff, display names and usernames, a new thing for the Darknet world. Users and username only to log in, and display name to be contacted on, and as a public name so that no one in the public knows their public name. The market won't fall down for maintenances of more than 2 hours. They say that they're not kids like others or people that only want money. They're very old coders with a large experience. And it does show a little bit in some of the further answers. I don't fully understand this, again, because I'm not a coder or developer. One of the developers on the team takes care of the crypto/security and automation, while the other takes care of the rest. There's also a security expert in the team that does automated bash scripts and specially crafted OSAP rules. There's gateways, balanced loaders, workers, reverse proxies, and some other features. But that goes above my head, guys. As of when these questions were asked, how many users are there currently? There's over 2,400 accounts, from which 314 are vendors. Some necessary precautions were taken, such as if any type of file is being touched or any line of code, there's live notifications. The server is fully encrypted with AES 256 bits. The database is fully encrypted, requesting the encryption key via API. Every single curl action or get money posts is being transmitted through 3 different gateway servers. The money symbol, I'm guessing that's some Linux Unix code. Verifying if the data is valid and processing forward, as well as support. We get notified live on Jabber when a new ticket, when a new dispute, when a problem or when an attack or a server outage is happening. How much will vendor fees be when you reach 10,000 plus users, or a peak height? And it's stated that we will not increase the vendor bond above $500. As being a vendor is an important fact in a market. What we focus on is an automated anti-scam system, which is already built and implemented. If a seller, for example, gets a number of negative neutral feedbacks within X amount of time, an automated possible scammer tag is being assigned to his name. All listings and displayed everywhere, including messages, and his withdrawals are temporarily blocked till an investigation is done. There is no possibility of doing any type of exit scam as a vendor. Okay, so we are in the FAQ section. One thing you might have noticed earlier when we were scrolling through and I typed in LSD, that search function didn't work, at least for that particular one. But when you go to the categories, which there's not a lot of drugs, there's not a lot in the categories, and there are 300 vendors. We're approaching, how many? Let's just see, 545 drugs, 85, all of this stuff. I'm guessing, I can't even really see this, so unfortunately it is a little mixy-mashy. That I have never seen that before. That's kind of cool. It's a little creepy though when I first saw that, and there's some work to be done with the vendors. There's some work to be done with drugs. I don't really care about our digital products, but I know there is a decent amount of people who do that. With psychedelics, there isn't really much of a choice, but of course with the more popular substances there's something. Again, this is a fairly new market, so it's all about the features, and hopefully they'll be able to fix certain sections of this, but that is something to watch out for. There's some alternative links at the bottom. If you go to the forum, evil ideas, here you can discuss about illegal stuff such as fraud, activities, planning, method, and advices. Share your ebooks, your diaries, your drugs, the Nightmare Club, cryptocurrency stuff, announcements. Seems like there's 42 threads. There is an update that soon there should be a mixer for Bitcoin, BCH, Litecoin, Zcash, and Dash within the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's an automated mixer in the withdrawal system and deposit. The question asked, how can that be trustworthy? The Tumbler services through a market. Well, it mixes with other people's coins, moves it from servers to servers, splits it into multiple stuff, so it's kind of better than normal deposit. Much better, and normal withdrawal. Yes, but how can people trust a Tumbler that's on a market? How can it be a trustless system? But you trust the market by depositing anyways. So it's something extra to that deposit and withdraw, some more security to it. There's nothing to not trust about it because it's not a service. It's in the market deposit and withdraw system to anonymize people's coins. Very cool. How do I buy? Find your product, check his price, deposit the required money in your favorite crypto, go back to your item. So some of these sections should probably be fixed a little bit. The grammar, the way it looks, clean it up a little bit, brush it off. Multi-signature. Let's go through this section. What is multi-signature? Multi-signature escrow is the perfect trustless system. When you pay, you just need to deposit funds to cover the fees in the wallet, but the transaction will be in a 2x3 cosigner wallet. This means that nobody can withdraw the money, not even the marketplace. Why do I have to deposit funds into my market wallet even if I'm using multi-sig? Because the platform sustains itself by the order fees. So in order to benefit of the freedom of purchase, there is a small fee of 4% on every purchase. There is additional fees for multi-signatures. Yes, 4% more. How do I set up my public key? Very easy. Go into wallet details, copy paste the public key in multi-signature settings section in the profile. For disputes, if you did not receive a product or if you received an incorrect product, you can start a dispute. What if there is no agreement to be found? If both parties cannot come to an agreement, you can still start a dispute. The order is then locked. The Nightmare support will then look into the dispute, and if necessary, the Bitcoins will be refunded. Partial refunds are possible. What are bad reasons to start a dispute? Well, we don't need to go through that. Some of the rules of the marketplace: no insults, no abuses, no discriminating racist comments, no character assassination. Offers that are banned from Nightmare: child pornography, animal pornography, snuff movies, weapons, explosives, poisons, ammunition, human trafficking, human organs, contract killing, living animals. Living animals. That is a little bit more detailed than other markets I've seen, but I haven't seen a market that sold live animals yet. I am looking to buy a German Shepherd. That would be lovely. The Nightmare mission. Nightmare Market staff is focused on a provided, user-friendly, high-tech, and safe e-commerce platform. We are here from an age. We saw markets and forums start and dying. We studied how and when we... Whoa. The grammar is all over the place here. User-centric features. There is an affiliate system. But don't worry, my link down below is not an affiliate link. Not that it would make a difference for you guys anyways, but I don't know why I said don't worry. But that's that. Let's go to this section now. There's a lot of posts that people just use the word nightmare, and that's probably due to a trip. Here we're talking about BNZ isopropylbenzylamine. But we first start discussing about nightmare. What the fuck, nightmare market? Something about free cocaine samples. I'm trying to register for the nightmare market, but I'm getting an error. Here was a update from the nightmare market team on their community, the live jabber notification system. Then there was an update about multi-signature 2x3 support. Here's how it looks like. All right, let's check it out. And then just some vendors discussing about their advertisements. And here we have some advertisements on the forum. So the files, this is how it looks like. Please make sure you will deposit the exact amount specified above. Cha-ching. Then it does this. It seems they have only sent da-da-da-da-da. And then you get a check mark when it goes through. Cool. Here was a screenshot of the live feed. This goes more in depth with the multi-signature, and I did block a couple of the main important details in the previous clip. Didn't realize my face was in there, so now we removed that. And something that's really interesting is that there is a ClearNet site, nightmaremarketplace.com. The top 3 privacy coins have been deployed. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, disclaimer: the content found on this website is for information only and is not meant to solicit illegal activity, and we are not lawyers, so this is not legal advice either. NightmareMarket.com has no affiliation with the actual Darknet market Nightmare in any way. We're just a blog that delivers the latest news regarding Nightmare Market. And there's guides on registering, on buying, selling, PGP. So let's see, as a buyer, you go in and hey, all the details are in there. Really interesting. There's a lot of information on this one. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can check out the market. However, don't do anything illegal on there, or any market for that matter. All the links that were used in this video are in the description below. If you're interested in helping out the channel, check out my live streams as we're doing more and more of those. You can send in a super chat. I'm thinking of setting up the Patreon yet again. Many of you are trying to convince me to get it. I'm heading to a cannabis sorta conference this weekend, I guess. We're going to check that out. And the last way you can support me, thank you to my sponsor, Red Supplements. If you're interested in Phenaba, check out the link for some Red Monkey. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm actually thinking of putting out a couple of videos on Abraxas, Agora, Black Market Reloaded, Black Bank, Silk Road 2. So stay tuned. Maybe we might be able to finish that before the year is done. I appreciate your support and love. Bye.